Hello and welcome to another one of our videos. Right now we are in Sofia, Bulgaria.
We hadn't actually planned to come to Bulgaria at all, as you might know if you watched our last video. But because we weren't allowed into Turkey because I'm American and they're not letting American tourists in right now, and because India surprisingly ended up being really expensive, we looked for a last-minute change of plans and ended up here in Sofia in a gorgeous 2-bedroom apartment right in city center.
It was a lot of fun coming to a completely unexpected city that we knew nothing about and didn't do any research. So as we tried to explore the downtown area a little bit, we found a lot of cool things that we didn't expect.
Yeah, we kept it a surprise on purpose actually. Once we knew we were coming here, we did next to no research about it. Because we had done so much on most of the places we're going, we thought it would be great to just take that opportunity to be completely surprised and see a new place with no preconceptions.
Sofia is a really beautiful city, and the downtown area has lots of squares and parks and restaurants, so lots of options to just walk around and explore.
There's even an ancient Roman city that they've excavated part of that you can just walk through. As a Californian, it's fascinating to me to see how lightly history is treated, not just here, but all over Europe. But just the fact that in California, if we have a building that's 150 years old, that's a historical monument. And here they have these ancient Roman ruins just sitting out there for people to walk through, and we saw kids climbing on them, and it's just such a different perspective on history.
After the first few days here, the weather started to get a lot colder and gray, so the days usually don't last very long, and we don't have a lot of daylight to explore. So we've been focusing a little bit more on just working first, and as we get used to the city, we'll explore a little bit more.
One of the things that we have wanted to explore, though, is the products here that are different than what we've seen anywhere else we've been, whether that's back home or Germany or Morocco or Paris now. So we went to the grocery store and bought several mystery items, as you can see. Some are more mysterious than others. And we're going to try all those and let you join us so that you too can see what, for example, this is. We're going to start out with these two spreads here. My best guess is that this one is savory and tomato-based, and that this one is a sweet jam, although we couldn't tell what kind it was, and it didn't look like strawberry or plum or anything you'd expect to see back home. So we're going to start savory and then move our way into sweet, because I think these things are all sweet also.
It's funny because in Bulgaria they use the Cyrillic alphabet, so we have no idea how to read any of the labels, and we're just doing our best to just guess right what we're buying.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I've been missing Morocco for the last few days and was hoping that this would be similar to zalouk or chakchuka, which we had there and learned how to make. If you're curious to learn how to make those, we'll include information in the description about how you can see our recipes and videos for them. But anyway, this one does remind me of chakchuka, I think because it's based on roasted peppers instead of tomatoes, as I thought when I looked at it, but when you eat this you can tell it's roasted peppers. And while it does resemble chakchuka, it somehow has a more European flavor that makes me wonder if there's oregano in it or something else that makes me think of Italy or Europe more than North Africa.
Now let's try this mysterious jam. We can see that there are some bits of something in it. It's not just a smooth jam. So we're curious to see how is the texture and what does it taste like.
And based on the pretty pink color, I at first thought that it was plum, but the bits in here don't look quite like plum, and so I'm hoping that since Bulgaria produces so many roses to make rose products, I'm hoping that this is rose jam, but we'll see.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This is really good. It's quite sweet, and it does have a floral taste to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is definitely rose, and it tastes amazingly good. I found that some rose products can taste like perfume in a way that's really unpleasant. It makes you feel like you shouldn't be eating them, but this one is actually really nice and works really well.
We need to figure out how to spell this so we can buy some more. So now let's take a look at two different kinds of Turkish Delight that we found. This one says that it has walnuts in it.
This one, as you can see through the little window here, is reddish colored with what looks like coconut sprinkles on top. And the map here shows Bulgaria rather than Turkey, even though it's Turkish Delight. Based on that, I'm going to guess that it's rose flavored like the jam here, rather than being flavored with strawberry or cherry or some other fruit that would make it red like this.
Let's see.
Opening this was a huge mess. There's now powdered sugar all over the table and all over me. But on the bright side, the Turkish Delight inside is already cut into individual pieces. Cheers.
So it's pretty sweet and pretty messy. I think this is sweet enough that only a few cubes will do.
And I have a confession, which is that I'm not actually a fan of sweets in general. And honestly, this reminds me of why. To me, it's just painfully, sickly, sugary sweet. And the Turkish Delight itself, I know this is a characteristic of Turkish Delight, so it's not about this specifically, but it's just gooey and feels like it's sticking to my teeth. And I was hoping that having crunchy walnuts in there would help, and unfortunately it doesn't. So, still not a fan, and still feel let down by The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, building up my expectations for Turkish Delight, only to have it turn out to be this. I don't like Turkish Delight in general, so keep that in mind when you're deciding how much weight to give my review of this walnut Turkish Delight.
Let's try the other one then.
Here goes.
Let's see if it's more or less messy than the first one.
I'm looking at this again, because that one was so covered in powdered sugar, but this really does look like coconut. It's bigger chunks than you'd expect from sugar, and it doesn't look powdery at all.
Is it just a huge chunk?
Yeah, this one is not cut into pieces, so I guess we'll just... I didn't bring a knife over here, so I'll try breaking it.
So there's definitely rose in it. Even I was able to taste it. And it's like eating a flower.
Yeah, this one to me does have that painful sort of perfumey flavor that I generally don't like in rose flavored things. So surprise, surprise, again, I cannot really recommend it unless you love roses and Turkish Delight.
It's not your everyday dessert.
Did you like it?
I think it was a little bit too strong of a flavor of rose for me. Okay, should we take a look at the last mysterious item?
Yes. This is the one that we really have no idea what's about. We have no clue what's in here. It doesn't feel like Turkish Delight. It feels... Okay, if I had to guess, I would say that there are two hard wafers with some sort of slightly softer filling between them, kind of like an ice cream sandwich, but obviously not frozen. Here we go. It looks like it's actually 3 wafers stacked one on top of another with some sort of sticky substance holding them together. Wait, I take it back. 4 wafers. Anyway, several wafers stacked, stuck together with something gooey.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It tastes really nutty.
Yeah, it's some sort of sunflower seed paste, like a sweet sunflower seed mixture that's holding these wafers together. And this one, as opposed to the Turkish Delights, I actually really like, partly because the nuttiness makes it less sweet, which I prefer in desserts. As we mentioned earlier in the video, and as you might have inferred from the rose Turkish Delight and rose jam, Bulgaria is full of roses. There's rose products everywhere, entire stores devoted to roses. So I got this little tube of amber rose perfumed hand cream for what came out to about $1.50 US. So I've been using it for a couple days and I absolutely love it. If you see this somewhere, seriously get it, you will not regret it.
Another good thing about Sofia is that they have an online food delivery system in English. So we didn't actually have to learn Bulgarian to call delivery places to bring us some pizza at midnight. We were able to just order online and it was pretty easy.
And we'll put the link to that site in the description below too, so that if you're here in Sofia and feeling too overwhelmed to try to order a pizza in Bulgarian, you can just order online too. There's one final product that we want to show you just because it entertained us so much. Touristy. I don't actually know what this was trying to say and what the bad translation was, so if you speak Bulgarian and can tell us what this means, I would love to know. Maybe it actually is trying to say touristy, but I don't know what kind of tourists would want this tea specifically or why. So yeah, if you have insight, please let us know. The ingredients of Touristy are common balm leaves, a sprig of St. John's wort, a sprig of marjoram, a sprig of thyme, and blueberry leaves. And again, to me, that doesn't sound super familiar as something that tourists in particular might want. It is really nice. If you're here, you should try it. It's delicate and light and the perfect drink for right before bed when you don't want to have black tea that'll keep you awake, but you want something hot to warm you up.
So these were the mystery products that we found this week. We'll stay in Sofia for a couple more weeks, so we'll have time to look for some more products.
We're also going to take a food tour in Sofia and get to experience more traditional Bulgarian food. Speaking of that, if you have recommendations either for restaurants here or for traditional Bulgarian dishes that we absolutely have to try, please let us know. As usual, Gustavo would love anything meat heavy, whereas my diet is almost completely plant-based, so I'm always on the lookout for amazing vegan options.
And as usual, we'll keep posting pictures on Instagram every day, and we'll go back to writing on our blog
every Tuesday and Saturday. We also have a weekly newsletter, and if you subscribe to that, you'll get our recipe for and video for how to make chakchuka, the Moroccan dish that we mentioned earlier in this video.
So give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you next time.